Ain't no high stepping with Marcus J. Thank you so much once again for staying with us. It's the top of the hour, a little bit after 9, and we appreciate everybody who's still with us on MixLR. They're staying with us on our new affiliate, which is TuneIn. Thank you so much, everybody, for kicking it with us tonight. Definitely glad we had that last segment. We got a lot of good information in the healthy segment led by SY on the whooping cough, so definitely make sure you guys take heed to that. You want to be down with us, call us at 804-402-2893. Now we are at the part of the show where we absolutely like the whole crosstalk thing is really distracting y'all killing me, seriously. Yeah, I called y'all out because y'all killing me. Y'all killing me. Marcus, like when I was giving you the hand signals about going back, that's why I say in the break, yo, we hot. I understand that, but because that's like radio lingo. But I'm minding my business. The people ain't supposed to know. But see, the thing is,
like what? It's not. But
see, the thing is, you know what this is like, Tony. You know what this is like. It's like
Tony was doing it too. Don't trip.
And she was sitting there, crossing her eyes, cocking one to the middle of a nose.
So you acting up too?
Yes.
No, I was not.
Don't say you was.
Yes, you was.
One eye looking at the
sea,
but you know what it is?
I'm gonna tell you.
Actually, you do the weird eye thing though.
First of all, let me say the kicking thing. You was like, we kicking it here. I was like, we kicking it.
Man, she almost hit me twice.
I was bringing him back. We.
I'm gonna tell you something. You know what?
Them two at the same time said, "Come on, ain't nothing but air and opportunity." I said,
I
knew y'all was gonna say that.
And then she said, "Ice T and talking about nothing but a G thing." I was like, "What is wrong with you?"
Thank you. I heard you say that.
Here's what I've noticed. Right? We've been doing the show here in the den since March, right? And right around April, June-ish, Big Rube kind of like, bowed out a little bit. And seeing as though I'm talking and no one's listening to me. I know the listeners of Ain't No Half Steppin' Market. Y'all listening because the crew ain't listening to me.
She just
anyway,
nothing.
I'm going to put it out there.
I just want to get ganged up
all kinds of
in this sort of way.
Peace and harmony in the studio until he came back.
That's right. What you gonna do about it?
But we also had peace and harmony in the studio until you started.
Thank you. I've been here. You know what I'm saying?
So
I'm
now,
saying she's sitting in my seat.
So now we got two troublemakers, but you know what? And we lost Carl Banks. You know, we'll get him back. You know,
because we used to yell at him.
He's on hiatus for a little while. We'll have him back eventually. But Big Rube came back, and we lost Carlton Banks, and Big Rube comes back, and so now I got a whole new bunch of craziness that I got to be the ringleader.
Tony's the constant.
Yeah, but Tony is like doing the eye thing, like the Exorcist eye.
Because I can't. I
think Lissa P would call that. What would Lissa P call that?
The thyroid eye.
There you go, Lissa P.
I mean, she look all innocent, trying to look all innocent, knowing full well she just doing the same stuff.
And she does it when you're not looking.
And she instigating stuff.
No, I'm trying to restore order here because I know the rules of the station.
She restored order. She restored order. Really?
Short of saying shut the hell up.
Because you know I would though.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say shut.
That's why I'm like, I'm just waiting. He gonna get y'all.
Because people say I'm mean, y'all. I don't think I'm mean.
I don't think you mean either.
Nah, the dude in the mirror just tells me all the time how nice I am.
And let me check you just 1 second, because the love and the peace that you had, or the peace and harmony that you had, changed to love.
Oh yeah,
whatever, and craziness, because that's why Butler's crazy.
Let's move on to the business at hand. Ain't no ass stabbing Marcus J. We're gonna move on into the next segment. We like to call what the hell. What the hell is going on with these people? Now we got a couple of different things. We're gonna kind of do like a little bit of rapid fire on this one. There are a couple of things that I kind of teased in the break, and before the break, and a couple of things that I didn't get into at all. But I want to definitely make sure that I get into the stuff we teased. So let's rapid fire them. Let's go around the room. Tony, I'm coming to you on this one first. I'm getting this one from the weird news section of the Huffington Post. Parents learned that their child was missing by watching the 11 o'clock news. Now, this is a very old story. I just found it. This is from March of 2012. In the interest of full disclosure, it's old as hell. But just because it's old as hell don't mean it don't make you say, what the hell? So there you go. Basically, and I won't get into this whole thing, but this is a Bel Air, Maryland pizzeria. It's a young girl by the name of Harmony that she got found in the place inside the pizzeria by herself. A worker stumbled upon her when she told them that she was thirsty. 3 years old. And apparently she got left, and it says pizzeria, but real talk, y'all, it's Chuck E. Cheese. Okay. And so she up in Chuck E. Cheese with the family members. Here's where it gets a little weird, y'all. And I'll paint a scenario. You let, your child go to Chuck E. Cheese with a family member, and it's a crew. I think it's like 7 or 8 adults and like, 10 kids or whatever it is. And everybody rounds up all the kids, obviously, except for one, and go on about their business. Now, around 8 o'clock in the evening is when the workers at the Chuck E. Cheese stumble upon this young girl by the name of Harmony, and they realize that there's no grown-ups here, so they call the police, and they go through that whole thing, and they figure, well, let's put this kid on the 11 o'clock news and see if we get a buzz. Now, the parents are estranged, but apparently they have a decent relationship, and then they both happen to be watching the 11 o'clock news separately, and they both called in after having seen their child on the 11 o'clock news left at the Chuck E. Cheese. So let's round table. Let's get this in real quick. Tony, you up? What's up?
Okay, so the Harmony was there with people other than her parents, if I understand that correctly.
Yes. And
they all left the establishment without Harmony.
Yes.
So, I mean, I can kind of understand maybe the people that she was left with maybe kind of losing a bit of accountability, because usually if you're out with a bunch of kids, of course, you're going to make sure your child is there. I'm not saying it's okay, but I can see where maybe it was like that Home Alone situation where like they thought they had all the kids and left without her maybe. And then the parents maybe thought that she was still with the people, but
I see you trying, Tony. I can't take this walk
I'm
with you.
not saying that it's okay. I'm just saying I could see how it could possibly maybe happen.
Yeah, I can't take that walk with you. I can't do
I would be that person. I mean, like, what kind of expectation was set? Like, was it like, she's supposed to be home at 11 and they found out that she wasn't home, that she was still there at 11 on the news?
Well, the article didn't allude to any of that, but here's my thing. I mean, and that's why I want you on this one first, and I want Rube to get the last word before we move on to the next segment. But basically, my thing is, if my kid is with you, they're your kid until you give them.
Absolutely. I'm not saying that's not.
Well, I know. I'm not. I don't mean to misrepresent what you're saying, but like, I'll give you an example. Like yesterday, I had people over at the crib, and I had Mama J had some of her homies over at the crib, and at one point, I got up from the football game to go count kids in my house. I went to go count kids. Because I knew that they also had access to, going outside and stuff. So I absolutely would be very venomous with regards to how I responded to those parents. And I know that you would as well. So I'm certainly not
never lost nobody's kids.
I never lost nobody's kid. That's why. That's why. What's your thoughts, man?
The first thing I thought of when you said that, do you remember this commercial? It is 10 p.m.
Do you know where your children are?
Thank you.
I think we just dated ourselves again.
Yes, what time does the news come on?
11.
Actually comes
so you got a whole hour to figure out where your kid is at.
What time does the cheese place close? The pizza place close?
Like 8.
Where is my child?
So for 2 hours, you ain't know where the kid was.
I don't know what's wrong with those parents, but somebody has my child. You left with my child. I'm going to be talking to you sometime during that little visit you have with my child, making sure my child is okay. You have a time limit to bring my child back. This girl was how old? 3? 3. There is no reason for her to be out when the man says it's 10 p.m. Right. She should be in the house.
But if they had to go drop off other kids?
No. It is 10 p.m.
The only thing that I'll say to that is if the child was on a sleepover and part of the sleepover they went to Chuck E. Cheese, I can understand. Like, I have no issues with mom and dad. My issue is with whoever was tasked with keeping the kid, because during the 8 to 11 period, that's a 3-hour period that you're supposed to discover. Ruben, I want you in right here. You're supposed to discover in that 8 to 11 period that you're missing a kid. Why didn't you discover that you're missing a kid to the point where mom and dad had to find out on the news that their kid was missing? Mom and dad didn't get a phone call that you couldn't find their kid? Big Rule, get in right there.
Most 3-year-old kids go to bed around 8 o'clock.
Thank you.
I don't know what
What's your point?
know.
I mean, no, I'm asking. So basically,
my kid didn't have bedtime. She's never had one, so that's not always the case. But
all right. But the point is, these people, one, didn't know this kid was missing. If she's 3, probably the other kids were probably around the same age. All of them should have been in bed. Number one. Number two, if she's 3, she has to have a car seat.
Yep.
So you didn't know there's a missing car seat in your vehicle? Hey, where's the kid that belongs in that? Yeah, I'm sorry. Where's the kid in that car seat? I mean, and then on top of that, I don't really know how many parents will allow their 3-year-old to really have a sleepover somewhere else without them being there. That's just from what my
depends on who they're with, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
it did not say they were family.
It didn't say, but I don't think that that's relevant to interject simply because we don't know. And understanding family and friend dynamics, I don't think it's uncommon for the 3-year-old to go and spend the night with a friend or a family member.
Wouldn't get mine.
I mean, well, you wouldn't get them again, but like my child, she went and did, sleep over with the grandparents or the aunt, uncle, whatever. So it's possible. I don't know that I would add that to the discussion.
But I guess what I'm saying is, if they were family, it would have said they were family.
Maybe not.
I mean,
And that's probably all
I blame mom and dad to an extent too.
yeah.
I can't blame mom and dad on this.
No,
I can't blame mom and dad
if
on
my
this one.
son is with my brother and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take the kids out, we're gonna do something, I'm not gonna be calling him like every hour, say what's going on with the kids, is everything. I don't do that because I trust him with my child.
I mean, you may not trust them again because they showed you they can't be trusted, but the reality is, if most people don't let their kid go and sleep over with someone who doesn't have kids.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's a 3-year-old. So if my 3-year-old is out with a relative,
right
now my 3-year-old has a bedtime,
right?
So I'm gonna be checking. Okay, I'm gonna say goodnight to my baby. Where is my baby?
Okay.
I'm not gonna wait until I'm
11
watching
o'clock.
the news. Right.
I mean that's just where we're different, because when Mama J goes on a sleepover, I don't want to see her until she come back.
Well, that's you.
Yeah, I don't. I mean,
now,
we get a phone call, but the reality is, Mama J don't like talking on the phone, and neither do I. So I don't even really that part. I'm just and I say that kind of
3 years old.
I say that in a kind of a crazy way to kind of make the point that I ain't tripping off the parents. My issue is whoever was tasked with keeping the kid. That my issue is 100% solely on them, because if in your mind your child is with someone that you trust, then you trust them. You wouldn't let them go if you ain't trust them. But it is what it is. I just wanted to get brief conversation on that. We got a whole bunch of stuff we're gonna get to. Let's keep it moving. Bad week at Buckingham Palace as the people mistake Prince Andrew for a prowler, and they get this dude to run his pockets. Let me see your ID. This is the prince. Now, this is the Queen of England's son. Not what's his name? Not the Williams father. What's Williams' father? Not Charles. Charles' younger brother, Andrew. Andrew is the one who happens to be. I'm getting this one from CNN, and it's been all over the news, so you can probably say that you've seen it anywhere else. He's the Duke of York. He was out for a stroll through the gardens early in the evening a few days ago, and the uniformed police officer spotted him. It was about 6 o'clock on Wednesday, and they asked him to verify his identity. Of course, he satisfactorily identified himself, but don't you think that the people who are tasked with protecting Buckingham Palace should know everybody that lived there? I mean, I'm just saying. Now, I will say this. I will add this to the story. There was a prowler who was found on the grounds a few days before, so you can argue that the security was indeed heightened. However, you don't know the prince. You don't know the prince, man. Tony, you don't know the prince?
I mean, what if he hadn't shaved or something?
He was a little furry.
And they just, I mean, to me, better safe than sorry. And I'm that person who I don't mind spending an extra 30 minutes in line at the airport for safety reasons. I'm fine with that. But I mean, maybe because he's the Duke, he may have been just totally offended and all those people got fired. But
here's the funny part of the story. He was a good sport about it. It's the media that's tripping, which I don't consider myself part of the media. However, Big Rube, I want you right here. I'm kind of tripping. You know, anybody that knows me knows I could give a damn about the Royals for real. It annoys the hell out of me that people go crazy about the Royals. I've been to London. I've been to Buckingham Palace. I tried fussing with them people, and they won't blink or nothing. And it's weird that you get a grown man that won't blink, and you know. And I went through that phase, but now as a grown person, I'm like, yeah, I don't need to hear about every move they make. However, this to me is a little bit different because, you know, if I got security at the crib, Rube, and my security don't even know me, come on, man.
That means they're doing their job.
No, it don't mean they doing their job. Nothing.
It means they're doing their job.
You should know what your boss looks like.
What you think, Rube?
Maybe he was new.
Oh, God. Don't you think, okay, maybe he was new, but don't you think that you should go through, okay, she's the queen, this is her husband, Prince, these are her sons, Prince. These are her grandsons, Prince.
Was he by himself?
It was 2 officers. He was, Andrew. Yes, he was by himself taking a stroll through the gardens. Actually, the article says manicured gardens, but I didn't want to say that because that sounds too pretentious, but I guess I'll say it now. The manicured gardens.
See, and that's the funny
Y'all
part,
not tripping off of this?
He was his own flowers.
Seriously, like let's be serious for a second. Am I really the only one that's tripping off of this?
I think it's fun. I think it's hilarious. All
right, let's take a quick poll. SY, am I tripping?
No.
Tony, am I tripping?
Yes.
Ruben, am I tripping?
Yes.
Okay, cool. 2-2.
I'm with you.
Let's move on. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Now this one, 2 stories I kind of want to combine. I'm gonna get into one first, and then the other one will kind of piggyback on this one. I'm getting this one from YourBlackWorld.net, YourBlackWorld.net, and you know, I always like to read the bylines first, and then we'll get into the story after the byline. But woman dies of allergic reaction to weave glue, and apparently similar deaths have happened. A doctor in London, keeping it there, is speculating that Atasha Graham. Oh, you got a Tasha in London. And weave glue. You got sisters in London. All right. Because you know that's a sister. Ain't no white woman named Atasha. I'm sorry. That's just real talk. But anyway, no offense to our white brothers and sisters listening. But if you know somebody white named Atasha, call the show. 804-402-2893. I ain't never met no white Tasha. Anyway.
Like, that's my cousin.
Atasha Graham, 34.
ID too. I don't trust that.
Yeah. I mean, you ever met a white Keisha? I mean, it's just certain names you just know.
I met a white. Her name was Monisha.
She was
white. A white Lakeisha?
Really?
Monisha.
Yeah, I bet you know a black Ladasha too, don't you?
Sure
We can talk about
that.
Bet your daddy black dash. But anyway, Atasha Graham, she died from a possible allergic reaction to the adhesive used to apply her weave. The Daily Mail reports that Graham collapsed after a night of dancing in the club. Bottle full of. I'm sorry. Anyway. I got the hits to make it. I ain't into making love. Oh, sorry. Anyway, the sweat from the dancing may have allowed the glue to enter her bloodstream, in turn causing the deadly chemical reaction. Although the specific cause of death has not been confirmed, pathologist Dr. Michael Heath explained today during a hearing at London's Southwark Coroner's Court that this is not the first time he has seen deaths linked to extension glue. Quote, there are about 10 to 20 deaths a year in this country, many more in America. I have seen 4 in the last 3 months, he said. Multiple deaths more in America, in question marks. The statistics are shocking. Who knew the beauty product used by so many in the country was actually killing people? And obviously there's more here, but we'll stop there. Rube, I want you on this one first. What you got, man?
Stop using the weave. This is telling you to stop using the weave. Go natural. Get a perm. Just don't get the weave. The weave will kill you. Done.
Deadly, y'all.
Boy, I tell you.
The attack of the weave.
Unbelievable.
Imagine like chemical warfare. We talked about Syria before. Like we could put sarin in the weave glue.
Yeah, you could take out whole hoods with this.
You could take the whole hood out. Like, you know what?
You better watch out. Somebody might try to do that.
Hey, we got a lot of people that listen to us on Ain't No Half Steppin' Marcus J. So we might have just kind of giving the blueprint for how you take out, a whole section of baby mamas. And you got some brothers that ain't worried about child support no more. They getting together. They're like, yo, man, you got the weed glue, son.
So not only are you taking your driver's license because you can't pay, now we sending you to jail for murder.
Sending you to jail.
Hey, what do you mean? You can't. Hey, it's the same weed glue she buy all the time. I'm just saying, I went to the market and got it for her.
But you know what? You don't be surprised if you see the brothers buying all the weave shops from the Koreans. If you start seeing that. Okay.
Like, what is in weave glue?
I don't know.
But it don't mix with alcohol.
I'm gonna tell you this much. Anytime that you put something in your hair,
and you don't know what it is.
Well, not even just the glue. Anytime you put something in your hair that you got to wash out, or else it'll burn off within a certain amount of time, that's a problem. I ain't for no perms, man. I ain't for no perms, man. Like I just remember Malcolm X when they trying to get the stuff out his head in the toilet, and then the police come in and he can't even get arrested right because his head on fire. It burns. So I mean, and now in the interest of full disclosure, when I was in high school, I had an S curl, so I had to put I had the S curl. So I did use that stuff. It's not a perm, but it's a similar concept. You know what I mean? So I know a little bit about that burn.
Follow the drip.
Well, S curl was dry, by the way, so let's not do that. I said S curl, not Jerry curl.
I got you
just for the record, because I know the general ages of the people in this room. Now, I would be willing to guarantee that we got at least one former Jerry curl wearer in this room.
Oh, absolutely.
It's you.
I said S curl, not Jerry.
It
is not the same thing.
You just ain't put no rods
I
in your
ain't
hair.
never tear up nobody's pillowcases.
No rollers in it. That's all. The only difference.
I ain't never tear up no pillowcases.
I ain't tear my pillowcases.
I ain't never tear up no pillowcases.
You just left a whole bunch.
That's why you sleep in a plastic cap. Duh.
Y'all making me sick right now, for real. Y'all not gonna roast me.
Don't be mad.
Well, here's the thing. We had a little bit of fun with that. Now I want to take this particular part of the conversation into a little bit of a serious area. Cheryl Underwood. I don't know if everybody has heard the story. I'm getting this from the Huffington Post, the Black Voices section of the Huffington Post. Cheryl Underwood said recently on her television show, I believe Wesley Snipes' twin said on The View that she... I went there. You can't sit there and tell me that she don't look like Wesley Snipes. Come on now. We got the picture up. She looks like Wesley Snipes.
She's going to be the new movie, The Bladette.
When you're darker than midnight.
and I was the one 2 seconds ago that said that we was going to be serious. All right, we're going to be serious. All right. Apparently, and this was an encore presentation of The View. So when she said this the first time, I guess it got past us because she said that Nappy Afro hair, when she was talking about Heidi Klum, was described as ugly, and so I'm trying to find the direct quote here. Basically, she was talking about Heidi Klum's children with her ex-husband Seal, and how they had the huge afros. We know Heidi's white and Seal is African or black or European black, whatever he is. But she said, quote, "Why would you save Afro hair?" She went on to imply that nobody wants that type of hair, saying that you would never hear of a woman at a hair shop asking for curly, nappy, beady hair. Wow. And they're getting some Aisha, what's her last name? Aisha Tyler is catching a little bit of flack, I guess a little overage flack, because she sat there somewhat in agreement and didn't kind of take the conversation in a different direction and defend what is being called ugly, nasty, nappy Afro hair. So we got two sisters in the room right now who have shortened, curly, natural Afrocentric hair. Would that be somewhat accurate, ladies? Right. Yes. Okay. Nappy. Right. So I want y'all on this one. How do we feel about Cheryl Underwood's statements here?
I think she's an idiot. She is trying to fit in on her little talk show. That's why she keeps wearing those wigs. She has a problem with herself. That's what I believe. One thing that I would say, me personally, I think there is a level of self-hate that goes with
speaking of natural African hair as ugly or nappy. Nappy, we know. You can say, oh, I don't have a problem with my nappy hair. We know that nappy has a negative connotation, so we would prefer not to use that phrase, even though it's an accurate phrase with regards to the definition of what the word is, but it has a negative connotation. Tony, I want you in on this right here. You've had natural hair for the decade, pretty much as long as I've known you, a decade, and you pretty much always had some level of natural hair, whether it was when you had the locks and when you cut it off and that sort of thing. So what's your thoughts on this?
I mean, she, like so many other people, women especially, and even men too, have been brainwashed to think that straight hair is beautiful hair, and if your hair is not straight, then you look a hot mess. So, I know when I was younger, I tried to go natural, or go back to natural, because natural is what we were originally. But tried to go back from that relaxer to not having a relaxer and just feeling so like, oh my gosh, I look terrible. My hair is a mess. I can't do anything with it. It's out of control. And just reverting back to that relaxer because I felt like, okay, this is beautiful. This is easy. I could do a lot more with it. But as I, grew up and matured and realized that, my naturalness is more beautiful than anything that anybody can sell me in a box.
Right.
Then
we getting some hits in social media. I want to go backwards a little bit. We get a comment in one of the earlier stories. Simone is saying maybe Harmony is a badass kid and they left her on purpose.
You know what?
I meant to get that. I saw that earlier, Simone. I'm sorry. I forgot to read it. I got distracted, but I wanted to make sure we got that in. But coming back to the topic at hand right now, Joy is listening. Thanks for listening, Joy. She said natural hair is easy. Natural is better. And then she says wigs. So I guess she's saying that she is okay with that. Kaz is listening. She also says that natural hair is better. So I also got a hit from Steven Sykes, who hosts Enliven Radio, and Mr. LP, along with Mr. Sincere, right here on Legacy Internet Radio every single Tuesday night from 7 to 9. His quote says, different brands have certain mixtures. Some major brands have same mixture as sealant and carpet and the bonding tarp you put on floors, latex, honey, synthetic corn, and other stuff. So, so there's a whole lot of craziness that, just if I'm to understand where Steven's going with that, there's a lot of crap that they put in that stuff, and then you in turn put it in your hair. It reminds me of the movie that Chris Rock had done a couple of years ago when he was talking about, I think the movie's called Good Hair. Whatever. And you had they had this one sister in that movie who literally got on an airplane and went across the country just to get her hair done. And I was listening to my radio mentor, I guess I would call him. He doesn't know it because he doesn't know me, but Warren Ballantyne is a guy I listen to, and he was talking about, he always talks about having us in the black community, of having some sort of financial stability and some sort of financial power, and how we can go about doing it and taking back our money and taking back our power, because all the marching is cool, but it does nothing if you don't maintain some sort of power, and your power is in your economics. There's nothing that has ever been successful in our community that didn't have some sort of economic component. However, he was talking about the sisters, and if a few of them, not all, but if a few of them just forego their weed for a month and took that money and put it in a fund for those kids that Tony mentioned earlier that are in high school that can't get the lunches because they've been defunded, or maybe you put it in a fund so that you can go and buy a business, maybe buy a corner store. That's why, and I grew up in New Jersey, and there are a lot of inner cities there, and I can't speak for what it's like, even though I've been in Richmond for 20 years. The inner city here is not like what the inner city is back home, and so it's so densely populated. You get a corner store, you can make a lot of money doing that. So I don't want to get off task, but we're just talking about the money that some of these sisters spend to try to get these weaves. Rube, I want you in right here. To get these weaves, to get, all of this stuff. And now we find out that there's a level of toxicity that can be deadly on a small scale. I mean, we're talking 10 or 20 in a whole country. So, but let's talk to the families of that 10 or 20 people that ain't here no more. If they'd have just did, as the sisters like to call it now, the big cut, then we wouldn't even be, the big chop, yeah. Mm-hmm. Then we wouldn't be having these conversations. Yeah, I feel like Hoppy from Sanford and Son. she had to just, that's chop, Marcus. Okay, sorry. So Big Rube, jump in here, bro.
Surprisingly, I don't really have an opinion, because I guess my thing is just like, if it burns you when you put it on, then the chances of something bad happening to you is there, regardless of how you feel about it.
Right.
I mean, I guess the big question is, what will women do to look quote unquote beautiful? Is it worth it? Is the price worth the pain? You know, and when it comes down to that, that's only each individual person can do themselves.
Right.
I mean, I've been natural my whole life, so it is what it is. But to be in a woman's standpoint, especially with society trying to gauge what beautiful looks like, it's got to be extremely difficult. And I don't envy them. I feel bad, because my thing is, society is what you personally make your society is, not what everybody else thinks it is. But the sad thing about that is, too many people, too many people look at all the crap on TV and all the crap in the books, and lets them determine what society says you should be. And it's so not true, because real talk, a skinny girl ain't happening over here. I can't even do that.
Right.
But you look at the magazines and stuff, they say skinny is in, and you can go where you need to go then, because I can't help you. You
know what, Ruben? I agree with you. Rarely we do, and I agree with you on that. But I do want to play the devil's advocate, which I don't agree with, but I want to present this particular argument to the floor. We got two more quick stories that we're going to get to, but I think we hit on to something, so I do want to flesh this out before we run out of here. But you will have some sisters who partake in the whole weave craze. I won't call it craze, because that would suggest that it's temporary. Weaves ain't going nowhere. Joy actually says wigs are too hot, so she ain't rocking one. But for the sisters who do that, a lot of them, if you ask them in an honest moment, they will say that they do this because they think that it makes them attractive to men, because they want men to they think that's what the men want, that they think that's what they like, and my guess is a lot that's true. I mean, if you look at the videos and if you go to the strip clubs and things of that sort, that's kind of oftentimes what you see. Now, I can only speak for myself. Me personally, I'm never drawn to that first. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always drawn to a more natural looking sister than someone who clearly doesn't have hair down her back, but she's got hair down her back. So what do we say, and I'll put this out to whoever wants to jump in here, what do we say to that sister who she may not really care one way or the other about a weave, but she's doing it because she thinks that it's going to make her more attractive, not just to men, but just more attractive in general? And I got two natural sisters in here. What do y'all think about that?
I think she should pose a challenge to herself to love herself first. Look at herself, think about who she is and what she wants. And the reality is that hair that you bought is going to come out of your hair. The real you is still going to be up under there. So she needs to go ahead and embrace who she is above all.
Right, because I mean, even if you have the weave and you meet someone, eventually they're going to see the real you. Mm-hmm. So then you have to worry about, oh my gosh, is he going to like my hair, what my real hair looks like? Or do I need to keep this up, for as long as I possibly can? For me, and I've just always been me, regardless of the situation, you do have to love yourself and be willing to say, you know what, if all these people are going to overlook me or look at me weird because my hair is different, because my hair is natural, then I'm okay with walking my life by myself.
Right.
And that is, sometimes that's the case, and you just have to say, you know what, I don't want you anyway. If you can't accept, why would you not want to embrace someone who's so empowered by who they truly are?
Right.
You need to be with somebody else.
Yeah.
It was weird when I had locks. I got more attention with my locks from men than any other time getting attention, perm or whatever. men of all races.
I'll be honest with you. I agree with that. For me personally, I think that, and I don't like generalizing the average man, so I can only speak for myself and what I've seen from other men. But I think the men that I know are innately attracted to a woman who is secure enough in herself to just roll with what she came here with. You know what I mean? Like, forget the perms, forget the, the wigs and weaves and all that kind of stuff. It's just me personally, and I've never, ever in my life been attracted to a woman that wears a lot of makeup. If you choose to, cool, but it needs to be flesh tones and barely noticeable for me. And keep the lips moist. Like, you can wear lipstick because I can't stand a chapped lip. I can't do chapped lips. Like, if you cut my ear off in a hug, I'm not feeling that. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Two more quick ones, then we're gonna move on. Drunk confession. I'm getting this from USA Today. An Ohio man says he was drunk and will take full responsibility for a wrong-way collision in June, and there are high homicide charges pending. Now, there's a 3.5-minute video that was posted on YouTube last week. It shows 22-year-old Matthew Cordell describing what led to the accident in which he killed the man 3 months ago. He says, quote, "My name is Matthew Cordell, and on June 22nd, 2013, I hit and killed Vincent Carzani. This video will act as my confession." Apparently, he had an attorney, and the attorney advised against doing this. They had no way of knowing who he was. He was home free, and I say that kind of in air quotes, not to suggest that he hasn't done the right thing by coming forward, but we know that oftentimes people will do the right thing when people are watching, but when people ain't watching, it's, maybe I will do the right thing and maybe I won't. And he had no reason to come forward because they weren't on to him. So Ruben, I want you on this one first. I don't even have a real question. It's one of those things where, let's just talk about it. Apparently, the charges that he now faces, he's not eligible for early release or anything. So the charge that he's facing now, based solely on his admission, which was unprompted, he faces anywhere from 2 to 8 years in prison. Apparently, when they arraign him, he will plead not guilty, which will be I guess procedural, but the reality is this dude went on television or video or internet or whatever it was and said, "I killed a dude." What's your thoughts?
I mean, I guess he just wanted to cleanse his soul.
Yeah, couldn't deal with that.
I mean, it is what it is.
That's why.
Yeah, I think that guilt was hurting him.
Yeah.
He couldn't, you can't consciously sit there. Well, I guess some people can, but I guess it was just killing him inside. It was
eating him up, yeah. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J. Tony, any thoughts on this one?
Agree, yeah. People, that guilt will eat you alive. Yeah.
Well, I guess my only comment on it, if you got a conscience, the only way that you get away with not having to face your own personal guilt is if you have some sociopathic type tendencies, which we know people who are sociopaths don't have issues of guilt. And you could be, strangely enough, because I've done some homework, because I am, fascinated by, ID discovery and First 48 and stuff like that. So I have done some homework on sociopathy, and so I know a little bit about it. And you can be, strangely enough, you can be somewhat normal and still have some sociopathic type tendencies, meaning when you hear the phrase sociopath, you assume that this is someone who's going out there killing people. That's not always the case. You may just be a normal person who goes to work every day, raises your family. You just don't give a and you can wild out and do whatever you want and sometimes be reckless and have no feelings about it. Apparently that's not the case with this fella. So I'm glad to see I'm glad to see that the family gets some resolution. I guess as a footnote to the story, the family of the daughter of the deceased has come out and said that she feels nothing special for this guy. She don't feel happy that he came out and confessed and other stuff because she thinks that he did it for sympathy. And I don't know how she could say that. She has her right to her opinion. She is someone who lost a family member, but to say that he did it that he did it for sympathy, to me, is a stretch, simply because he was home free. Nobody would have known about this if he didn't come out and say, I did this, and get the family closure. You wouldn't even know what happened to your father.
He did that for himself.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't think he did it for publicity. You know, because I'll be honest with you, he about to go to jail for 2 to 8 years. You know, I don't know about that. Like, you know, I mean, I guess I got certain levels of sociopathy here, because I'm thinking, you know, you go to jail for 2 to 8 years, or you stay home and not be locked up for 2 to 8 years. I mean, I'm not saying he did the wrong thing or the right thing. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
You know, maybe he has.
You're gonna be just as guilty in jail. Say again now.
Maybe he has problems with drinking. He needs to settle a whole lot with himself. This is his time to, you know, pay for what he did and fix himself.
All right, you know, I Steppin Marcus. The last one I want to get to, ladies. I want y'all on this one first. This is a very sensitive subject, so I will preface this by saying that Techieville.com, a girl's attacker gets her pregnant, then the courts require her to share parental rights.
Sorry?
We have heard variations of stuff like this come up in the past, but apparently this 14-year-old, she's a rape victim, Massachusetts, and she was raped and became pregnant in 2009 at 14 years old. Gave birth to the attacker's child. The defendant in the state criminal proceeding, age 20 at the time of the impregnation, was convicted of rape in 2011, sentenced to 16 years probation. Conditions of the probation include an order that he initiate proceedings in family court and comply with the court order until the child reaches adulthood. The plaintiff here seeks to enjoin enforcement of so much of the state court's order as violates her federal rights by binding her to an unwanted 16-year legal relationship with her rapist. That's why you're giving me the face. So, you know, it's not. I mean, pretty much the rest of the article kind of fleshes that out a little more. I think we got the gist of it. I mean, so let's set it up again in layman's terms. 14-year-old gets raped by a 20-year-old. It's rape. And he gets 16. First of all, he gets probation. I don't know how that works, but he gets 16 years probation. But part of his probation is he needs to be part of his kid's life. Help me understand this one.
Okay, I'm stuck at one point. Why did someone make her have this baby?
Well, I mean, it doesn't allude to that, but, you know, woman's choice. It's, you know, maybe she's Catholic. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why she had it. There's a lot of reasons that we can attach to why she may have had the baby, but
I don't want to be connected to my rapist in any way, shape, or form. Okay, maybe she did decide she wanted to have the baby, and then in that case, and I'm just thinking outside, in that case, if she decided she wanted to have that baby, does she know her rapist?
My guess is maybe she did. I mean, I don't know. The article doesn't get into any of that.
Because I can't see otherwise me or my parent making me have this baby, or me wanting to have this baby. And remember forever and a day when I look at my baby, that my baby is a child of rape.
Right.
Something that was traumatic to me.
Right.
I don't want to remember that.
Right. Let me get a couple of quick comments in, and then we'll continue going around with this last piece. Kaz said that you was the baddest thing walking with locks. So your daughter is always giving you some love.
I know you love your mommy.
Joy said that she tried the weaves. She tried it, not feeling it. She prefers natural. When I was talking about sociopathy, said, what up, bruh? Said I had mentioned Dexter. He just simply said Dexter, which I know about Dexter. Mm-hmm. Dexter is one of my favorite shows. Yeah. It has been for a long time, and that's a pure sociopath. Mm-hmm. Tony, let me get you in on this particular subject that we have at hand. 14-year-old, she gets raped. She has the baby. 2 years later, she finds out that her rapist not only got probation instead of jail, but she also has a mandated court order to present the child for their father, basically. Their donor, I guess would be a better word.
So we know that this was not a statutory rape.
It was a rape.
Assault.
It was an assault. Rape. It was an assault
Okay.
rape. Yes.
So he is ordered as, I guess, punitive order to be a part of the child's life? Maybe is this to try to rehabilitate him, or
the only thing that I could think of, because we're all struggling here. The only thing that I could think of is if we were to follow the child support thought process.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like punitively, you're making him, okay, well, since you've done this, you're going to have to be financially responsible. But I guess since he has to pay child support, she can't preclude him from being a part of the child's life. So maybe he feels like, okay, well, if I got to pay for him, I might as well.
Simone is saying that unless parental rights are terminated, the father has rights. And this is one of those situations, and I've heard that before, and this is one of those situations where I don't give a damn about the law. The law can go somewhere as far as I'm concerned. We got to talk about common sense and common decency. Now, I agree with Simone, because from what I've studied, she's right with regards to that, because even though this is a story we're talking about, this particular incident, I have seen precedent for this situation to have happened before. But just because it's the law don't mean that it's right. And this is one of them situations. Ruben, let me get you in on this one. I'm guessing this is where you would use your signature phrase, hoping something happened to the, and I don't even feel comfortable saying the father, but I guess that's
the donor.
The donor, yeah.
Where was that?
Massachusetts.
Well, that's understandable.
It's a very liberal state. Yeah. It's a very blue state, but it's also a very religious state.
Yeah, she's probably Catholic, so she had no choice but to have the baby. I mean, yeah, it's probably a couple things. It's probably one, because she was forced to have the baby. He needs to have some type of financial dealing with it. So in order to get the financial, he does have to, of course, take care of it, of the baby. You know, it's kind of unfortunate. This is the issues with church and state that I'm not a fan of. I mean, because to me it's common sense. You know, dude raped a very underage girl. You know, he goes in, he pretty much goes to jail to die. You don't have to kill him, because they'll take care of him. But, you know, for whatever reason, he gets 16 months of probation and then a 16-year sentence with a child that he's kind of forced. I mean, like, I understand a little bit, but, you know, I guess you can't have one without the other. And I guess that's what they're basically saying. Because in order to get the money, he has to have he's got to have rights, you know. But then if you just throw him in jail, then who knows what'll happen to the baby, you know, unless she puts up for adoption or something like that. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I guess if I were to read the article, it will probably explain a little bit deeper, you know, about it. I mean, what do I feel about it? I mean, you know, I'm not a fan of rapists. They need to go to jail to die, because that's what'll happen.
I can dig it. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. We're going to go ahead and get ready to take our final break of the night. When we come back, we got our rants and we got our closings, and we got a big blast at the end of the show. So stay with us. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Be back in a minute.